Hi everybody, this is Niall. We're going to do some review and then also learn some new things, mostly about formatting in Excel. Lots of different kinds of formatting. So go ahead and set yourself up a worksheet that looks like this. You can go ahead and pause this video and then set up your data just like this, and then we'll get started from there. Okay, so hopefully you got everything set up just right, and we're gonna start off. So what this is this is a little expense report that we're keeping for ourselves, and we want to figure out what percentage of our total expenses each expense is. So I'm going to start out here by clicking on cell B12, and we're going to figure out our total expenses for the month of February. Whoops, this says 2016. I should make that 2017 over here. All right, sorry. So just fix that. Okay, so we'll make cell B12 the active cell, and we're gonna sum up our expenses for the month. And the easiest way to do that is to click on the auto sum button over here, and it normally gets the right selection, not always. And by the way, if it doesn't get the right selection, you can see what's going on over here. I got the marching ants. If you don't like the selection that it gives you, and just a warning, this will come up on your assignment, um, it'll predict the wrong cells. You can simply just drag across the cells you want. So when you get those marching ants, you can just change the selection by clicking and dragging. So that comes in handy a little bit. In this case, it picked the right selection, so I'm just going to leave it the way it is. So now I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. So it looks like my total expenses here are $1,542 for the month. And now what I'm going to do is I want to use, I want to figure out my total percentage of expenses here. For example, my largest expense here is $900. And I want to figure out what percentage of my total expenses that is. So I'm going to need to use absolute cell references for this. So I'm going to click on cell C5 to make that the active cell. And the formula that I want to put in here is going to be equals. Then I'm going to click on cell B5 here, and that is going to be divided by our total expenses. So I'm going to put the slash in for division, and then I'm going to click over here on our total expenses, which is in C12. So now that's the formula that we want. Now we want cell B12 to stay fixed, so we want that to be an absolute cell reference. So I can put in the dollar signs manually, so I'd have to put in the dollar sign before the B and before the 12. Or here's a good trick, you can hit the F4 button and it will put the dollar signs in for you. So I just pressed the F4 button and it made it an absolute cell reference for me. Okay, so my formula looks good now, and here is my, I guess it's 58% of my total expenses. I'm going to go ahead and copy this formula down all the way to row 11. Okay, so now I think all of these added together should equal 1542. Oh wait, I'm sorry, it should equal 100%. Anyways, the next thing I want to show you is some number formatting here. So I've got this whole range still selected. If you don't have it selected, go ahead and select this range. So that looks like C5 to C12. And over here we have number formatting buttons. And what I want to do is format these as a percent. So I can just click this percent sign there, and you can see that it turns it into percents right here. So all these percents should add up to 100% here. Okay. So here's another little formatting tip for you. These are all dollar amounts. So what I can do is select this range here, and I'm going to format those using the dollar sign here. This is, I think they call this accounting number formatting. So I actually click on this and it gives me a drop down list, and it can format dollars in different ways, but what we usually want is this top one here, English United States. So that formats those cells the way accountants like to look at everything. I can also put formatting on my dates here. So I'm going to click on cell B2, and then now these groups in the ribbon. So we've got a couple of different groups here in the ribbon under the home tab. We got the clipboard group, the font group over here, the alignment group, and the number group. You can see they have these little icons over here. These are usually for formatting. So I'm going to click on this little icon in the lower right corner of the group like this, and this will pull up my different formatting options. And it already knows that there's a date in the cell that I've got active, so it's kind of suggesting possible date formats here. So I think the one you're going to want to use in your assignment is this one right here. That. So that will format your date according to that format specification. So you can see how it changed the date format there. I'm going to show you another type of formatting that doesn't really pertain to this spreadsheet. So I'm just going to go ahead and put some numbers in here. Let's say I have a value like 11.23333, something with a lot of decimal places. I'm going to hit enter here, and then I'll go ahead and make this the active cell again. I've also got this number formatting up here in the number group of the home tab on the ribbon. So I can change the number of decimal places that appear here by clicking either the one that has the arrow to the left or the right. You can see that if I click it to the right, it takes away decimal places. Now, what's really important to know is that this formatting is not actually changing the raw data. So all of my numbers after the decimal place are actually there in the background still, and those will be included in any formulas that I use, but we're only displaying two numbers left or right of the decimal place here. So it's important to know that your formatting doesn't truly affect the raw data underneath. So if I were to add this cell to another cell, it would actually use all those decimal places in the calculation. So again, the formatting is just how we display the data, but the underlying data still has all of those numbers after the decimal place. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just delete this field here. And the next kind of formatting I'm going to show you is what's known as conditional formatting. And what that means is you can format the cells based on the data that's in them. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select this range that has all my percent expenses in here. And then I'm going to click on this conditional formatting button, which is in the home tab of the ribbon. And this will give me a whole bunch of options. There's a lot of different ways to do this. But what I want to do is I'm going to choose this first one here, highlight cells rules. And what I want to do is say all the cells that are greater than, let's say, greater than 20% in this case, should be formatted with a light red fill and dark red text. Okay, so let's see what that does. So what it does here is it shows me my largest expenses. So these are the two expenses that are larger than, what did I say, 20%. So it'll highlight those. Now, when you have a little tiny spreadsheet like this, it's not super helpful because you can see all the data all at once. But if you've got thousands of rows on your spreadsheet, this conditional formatting can come in really handy because it can make certain values pop out. So if you want like the cells in a column that kind of really jump out compared to the rest of the data, you might want to use this conditional formatting so that you can see the red background on the cells. It helps you kind of when you're analyzing the data. Okay, I'm going to jump back now, and I just want to review a couple things just to kind of pound them into your heads that can really help you out. First of all, I've got a formula in this cell, B12. I'm going to double click on that, and by doing that, that'll show me that all the cells that are being used in that formula. And I think this is something that might come up on your assignment this week, is sometimes when you're doing this, you might kind of get screwed up here, and Excel might think you're trying to edit the formula in weird ways. So let me see if I can get it to happen here. Whoops, nope, let me try that again here. So, okay, now I'm not sure exactly what I did to make this happen, but it looks Excel thinks I'm trying to edit this formula because I clicked on a cell, and I don't want to edit this formula. What I really want to do is just leave the formula as it was. So when you get your selection mixed up like this, and it's highlighting cells that you don't want, and sometimes it gets to be really confusing, just go ahead and hit the escape key, and that will just remove all selections. So that comes in handy. And then another thing I just wanted to review is that you can select multiple ranges by using the control key. So let's say I wanted to select this range here, and my total expenses over here. So I've got my first range selected. I'm going to go ahead and press down the control key and hold it down while I select the other range that I want included in my selection. So now I've got actually two ranges selected here, and this comes in handy sometimes too. I think this will save you some time if you know this little trick when you need to do formatting for your assignment for this week. So remember, hold down the control key when you make your selections if you want to select multiple ranges. Alright, so here's another little random trick I wanted to show you. This is one that really stumped me at times with Excel. Is, let's say I've got my notes down here in row 15. So let's just say I want to put something in here. I'm just going to type in garbage, and let's say I wanted to put in another line in this cell, but if I hit enter, that won't let me, that will take me to a different cell. But what I want to do is put another line in this cell here. So what I'm going to do is put my cursor at the end of the line and press Alt and enter at the same time, and that will allow me to put multiple lines in one cell. I remember this driving me nuts trying to figure out how to do this at one point when I was working with Excel. So Alt plus enter will allow you to put line breaks in a cell. Okay, there you go, and you can see that my row actually stretched out to accommodate both of those lines. So, you know, normally we just want to hit the enter button because we're used to creating line breaks with the enter button, but that actually moves the active cell down. So we need to hit Alt plus enter to actually put line breaks into a cell. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this here. All right. Okay, and Microsoft recommends that you follow certain formatting guidelines when you're working with your spreadsheets. For example, usually cell A1 is reserved for the title of what this sheet is about. So I'm going to go ahead and click on cell A1, and then actually I'm going to click off of it and click back on again. I didn't want the cursor for typing in, but what's a common thing to do is you can select and drag cell A1 and select the whole range that covers your data. So I'm just selecting cells, columns A, B, and C, and then what we normally do is merge and center those. So that will merge cell A1 to the rest of the cells in the selection, and then it centers it. And then what we usually do is make the font really big. So I'm going to crank that up to 14, and then bold it. So I'll bold it here. So that's a common way of styling your header for your worksheet. And then the other thing that I want to show you is that we can format these cells too. So a lot of times we'll want to add some styling to this title here. So if I click on the cell styles button over here, there's all these styles you can choose from. I'm going to choose heading 1 here. So that'll style it like the title like that. And then I'm going to actually click on row 4 here, and I'm going to choose, so I've got the whole entire row selected here. This might look a little bit funny, but I'll click on the cell styles again, and I can choose a different style for that whole row. So there you go. Now I got this whole row is using a different cell style. And then a really common one for accounting is I'm going to go down here and click on the total row. And accountants like to have rows with total amounts, they like to have double lines around those. So that's a common accounting formatting. So I'm going to go ahead and select row 12 and then click on cell styles again. And there's a total style right here like that. So it's hard to see now because I've got the green selection box around that whole row. But if I click if I make a different cell active by clicking on something else, now you can see how that cell styling is applied to row 12 here with the thin double line after the total. And finally, we can apply a style to our entire worksheet. So that's called a theme when you apply a style across your whole worksheet. I think it's under page layout here, so I'm in the page layout tab of the ribbon, and then here's the themes button. If I click on that, they'll show me all the themes that I have installed. Now sometimes you're missing some themes for some reason, but here's all the ones that I have installed right now. So I can you can see that I get like a live preview over here if I hover over them. But I'll just choose this. Let's see. I guess wood type. I'll choose the wood type theme, and you can see what that does. That changes some of the colors and the fonts and things like that. And all right, there is one more thing I want to show you about formatting, and that's when it comes to copying and pasting data from one cell to another, or from a group of cells to another group of cells. I'm going to go ahead and create a new worksheet here, so I'll click the plus sign. That creates a new worksheet. And by the way, if you want to rename the tab for the worksheet, you can just either double click in there and then start typing like that, or I can right click and choose rename. So I'll just call this my sheet. Can't think of anything better right now. So I've got an empty worksheet over here, and let's just say I'm going to go back to my original worksheet, and let's just say I need to copy this data here. So I select the range that I want to copy, and then I'm going to press Control C for copy, and then I get the marching ants right there. I'm going to go to the other worksheet, and I'm going to go to the spot where I want to paste that data, and I'm going to press Control V to paste. Now here's what I want to show you is notice that not only did it paste the data, this cell is messed up because well, I'm not exactly sure why. But what I want to point out is that not only did it paste the data here, it also pasted the formatting. So see that? It got the cell style formatting and everything here. So by default, when you copy data from cells, it not only copies the data, but it also copies the formatting. So there's a few ways to deal with this. If I go back over to the Home tab here, I'm gonna make cell F5 the active cell right now, and I have these paste options here. So I can paste with formatting, and this option right here, the FX, that is just pasting the raw data. And gosh, I can choose to paste with the raw data and just the number formatting. So you can see I got the dollar signs there. Whereas over here, I'm just pasting the raw data without any cell styles or number formatting. And then let's see what this one does. I'm not even sure what this this option does. There's a few options, but the ones that you usually use are paste everything, and that's the default. Paste the data and all the formatting applied to all the cells, or this one, which is just paste the data only. So those are the main ones that you need to remember. And I'll go ahead and paste it like that. So
finally, just one last thing I want to show you. Sometimes you just want to copy and paste formatting. Let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to go ahead and add a title here in cell A1 of this worksheet. And so I'll just put some title here, and then I'm going to apply a best fit. Let's see here. I'm going to get my handlebars here by hovering over the border near columns A and B, and double click, and that'll stretch that column out to the best fit. That's called best fit. And I want to format this the same as this, with the same formatting that I used on the other worksheet. So I'm going to bounce back over to the other worksheet, and I'm going to click on cell A1 here, which has been merged, so it actually spans across 3 columns here. And I'll press Format Painter here, and so that's copying the formatting. And I can also click and drag to get formatting for a bunch of cells if I wanted to. But anyways, so by choosing the Format Painter, it's just copying the formatting. So I'm going to go back over to my other worksheet, and once I click here, it will apply that formatting. See that? So sometimes we want to copy just the formatting and leave the data as it is in the cells. So you can do that too, and that comes in handy if you want to make sure that all your worksheets have consistent formatting. Alright, I think that'll do it. We're going to sign off right now. Have a great week, everybody.